Welcome to Welcome with Jesus Bible Study. We're going to be in the book of First Chronicles, chapter 29, verse 14. But who am I, and what is my people, that we should be able to offer so willingly after this sort? For all things come of thee, and of thy own have we given thee. I'm going to repeat that. But who am I, and what is my people, that we should be able to offer so willingly after this sort? For all things come of thee, and of thy own have we given thee. This reminds me of when my kids were little. They would go when it was time to get me gifts for like either, my birthday, holidays, or what have you not. They had always had gifts for me wrapped under the tree. What's funny is, I hadn't taken me anywhere or given any money to go get gifts or anything like that, but they always found a way to give me gifts. And what blessed their hearts, and what they did was is they went around the house and took things that I truly loved, of my knickknacks or what have you not, and they would take it and wrap it and then give it to me. And it was just the sweetest thing. And it was like receiving something that I'd already loved all over again. It didn't matter that the fact that I knew that it was already mine. At that moment, opening up, it was like receiving it like I had never had it. Because it was just so precious and just so heartfelt and just so loving. As children of God, everything that we have, everything that we are, and everything that we receive comes from God. He provides us with everything. What is it that we could possibly give Him? How we are to give to Him? How can it be worthy? How can it be acceptable for Him to receive? How can we shower Him with generosity when everything that we have comes from Him? By being good stewards. Because all that He ever asks us to do is to love Him and to love one another and to share His gospel. That is all He asks of us. That's all He needs, is our love. To love Him is to do all the things that He asks. We don't have to sit here and try to look for gifts to give Him, for He has it all. But the one thing that He asks to give to Him freely is your heart, your love, and your time. These things cost you nothing but your time. It says to love Him with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your might. I used to say all the time with all your mind, but I realized it was just me memorizing wrong, and it says might, not mind, might. And I've caught myself several times doing that, and I was like, I need to correct myself because I say that a lot. And I repeat it that way on accident, not on purpose, but I do know it says might. Why I keep saying mind, I don't know. With everything that we have and with everything that we are, that's all He asks for. And He wants us to do it willingly, not because we have to, or because we just want to get this or gain that, or just because, I know you can follow Him and do what He says just because you're afraid of dying. For it says to fear God, so you should be afraid. You should obey, and if you do things out of fear, it's okay. But He wants your love. He wants you to do it because you love Him. For God truly sees our hearts. When they talk about tithing, everybody sits there. Everybody likes to say we're not under the old law, we're under the new covenant, but they sure love to preach the old law of tithe giving. And it's funny how like the Old Testament doesn't matter except for when it comes to tithing 10%. And then it's funny how it used to be just the foods and the fruits of our labor, that they changed it to money when it never once mentioned that. Not in the Old Testament anyway. But when it comes to it, it says in there, when Jesus talks about it, a lot of people say it doesn't even speak about it in the New Testament. It does. It says somebody who gives willingly. It's not that we have to give. It's that we're cheerfully and willingly want to give. And Jesus does speak about it. In fact, he is praising the woman who gave all she had to the temple. And he's like, I tell you, she gave more than anybody could ever give. And she gave it willingly. Here, have all that I have, Lord, because all that I have is yours. Not just me, but everything that I have. She truly loved God with all her whole entire being, with all her might, that she gave everything that she had. And Jesus was making a comment that those who gave abundantly had abundance to give. And though it may seem like a lot that they was putting in there, but they had way much more than what they gave upon them. So technically, they really didn't give that much. And when they gave it out of, oh, I have to give. Well, I have this much, so let me go ahead and give this much because I have to. Both the Old and the New Testament says to give willingly. That is not about how much you give or what you give. It's that it came from your heart and you was willing and happy and pleasing to do it. There's many ways to give back to God. Helping others, giving to your church, giving to ministries, giving to, evangelists traveling. It's just the poor, the needy. In all things you are given to God. For Jesus says so himself, that if you give to the poor or to the hunger or go visit somebody in prison, that you're doing so to him. For he are those people. Why? Because we all belong to God. So when you're helping those in need, you're helping God. We are to be his hands and his feet upon this earth. He don't need us, but thank God he uses us. Thank God he gives us this purpose and this meaning. He is literally sharing a little bit of, I want to say, his glory and his happiness. Because when we give willingly and happily, it gives us this joy that we cannot explain. And so God is sharing that. The joy that he gives, the joy that he receives when you give to him willingly. He's sharing that feeling with you when you do those things. It says in the scripture that it's more better to receive than to give. So the best thing that you can do to give to God is to give willingly and happily all that you are. Your heart, your soul, all of your might. Spend time with him. Stay in his word. Stay in communication with him by prayer. Pray without ceasing. Meditate on the word. That means day and night. Constantly be in it. Worship him by placing him above any and everything. He always should come first in everything that you do When people look at you, you should be a reflection of who your Father is.